Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Two Foot Tackle Podcast, emergency podcast edition. I haven't done one of these before. Don't think I have had a reason to do one of these before, but if you are up to date with the news that is happening around football in this country and football in Australia, then I feel like it's pretty apt to speak about it, as I'm just checking everything's on because this is in a rush. Now, as you can tell by the background, these things are new little toys, some 4 new posters, add some colour. So I've spent my morning trying to figure this out, trying to make sure that it looks fine, and I think it looks good anyway. I like to think it looks okay. So anyway, we're going to continue. For those of you who haven't, I don't know how long this podcast is going to be. I really don't know how long this podcast is going to be, but it's going to be just me ranting, if we're going to be brutally honest. It's just going to be me absolutely ranting as I fix the focus on the camera. It's just going to be me ranting for I don't know how long, but I just can't fucking believe what is happening. I seriously can't. Seriously can't believe what is happening. Now, of course, this is a break from the regularly scheduled programming. We'll be back for the World Cup as per normal in a couple of days, but I actually wasn't going to do this. I literally decided to do this in like half an hour because, in the last half an hour, I've decided to do this. Now, for those who don't know, the reason why this podcast is happening is the A-Leagues have made arguably one of the worst decisions I've seen been made for football in this country. They have, if you've been around Twitter, if you watch the news, if you've seen anything regarding it, then you know exactly what I was going to speak about. But that is the fact that the A-Leagues have now sold they've sold the A-League, A-League's grand final, so A-League men's, A-League women's grand final, and a number of other football-related events in a 3-year deal with New South Wales, beginning in 2023. Now, where do we start from here? Basically, what this means is grand final is going to be held in New South Wales. A-League men's grand final, A-League women's grand final, the A-League grand final. Is that even a thing anymore? Well, regardless, that's going to be held here, held in New South Wales, I should say, and other football-related events in a 3-year deal. Now, okay. Where do we start from here? I think a good place to start is the fact that the announcement tweet had 120 likes, 500 comments, and 274 quote tweets. So I think that goes to show just how much people hate this decision. And this isn't me. I just want to preface this. This isn't me being a bitter Victorian by any stretch of the imagination. If this exact same decision was announced in Victoria, I would say the exact same thing. Because despite me thinking that Amy Park should be the home of football in this country, I think it's the best football stadium in the country. Bankwest rivals it arguably, but I still think it's a ridiculous decision regardless of where it is. Now. There's a couple of things that is very, very angry. That has made a lot of people very angry about it. Firstly, the fact that they have dragged a lot of players and a lot of high-profile people in the space. Craig Goodwin, Lewis Nani, Tara Rushton. These highly respected people. They've dragged them into this video, into forcing them to do this announcement, and Craig Goodwin has now come out and said on multiple platforms that he wasn't consulted, or B, it doesn't agree with the decision. Jamie McLaren, it's been I wouldn't say leaked, but Jamie McLaren has said that he, of course, wasn't consulted, and the players are unhappy. They were blindsided by the decision. The fact that fans weren't consulted, the fact that fans weren't consulted, the fact that fan groups weren't consulted, and the fact that clubs weren't consulted is another another reason that makes a lot of people very, very angry. It was the board of the APL, of the A-Leagues, who made this decision. A board that consists of That consists of a couple of people that are definitely some are owners or some are involved with clubs, others aren't. So the board is made up of Scott Barlow, Anthony DiPietro, Paul Ledera, Chris Fong, Stefan Evans, Ibru Kosal, and Simon Pearce. I don't know who a lot of those people are. Of course, I know DiPietro because he's obviously that Malvich connection, right? The fact that fans were consulted, clubs were consulted, players were consulted, and the fact that this is quite obviously just a money grabbing, obvious like money grabbing scheme for the league, which in itself is a decision which is just mind boggling because this league and the people in charge of this league have a track record, have a brutal history of misusing funds and pissing funds up the wall, right? Absolutely misusing them and being so profligate with it. And the fact that they've sold this game for funds in this country, or for funds which they claim will be going back into football, which, I mean, take of that what you will, how much you want to believe that is your opinion, but to me, it's just going to line their pockets, for all I'm concerned, or at least the majority of it will. The fact that this is happening is just ridiculous. Now, of course, Twitter has blown up. I assume the rest of the football public has blown up. I've seen Facebook as well. A lot of people this has been their final straw. And a lot of a reason behind this is because of the success that the Socceroos have had at the World Cup. This was the perfect opportunity to capitalise on that success and capitalise on the spiked interest that football has in this country because of the Socceroos, and the fact that they've pissed it all down the toilet by doing this is again extremely disappointing. Now, this is going to be a rant. There's going to be no real structure to this, but they don't care. The people in charge do not care. They do not care about the fans. Blatant, obvious as. It couldn't. This decision could not show this in a more obvious light. The people in charge of football in this country do not care about the fans. They do not care about us. They never have, and by the looks of things, if it stays the same way, they never will. We need a complete revamp of this whole structure. From the people that run it to the way it's run, it needs a complete top to bottom, inside and out revamp because it is simply not good enough. Simply not good enough. It's been a disgrace for a very long time. It's been not good enough for a very, very long time. And right now, this to me and to a lot of people is the final straw. It's not the fact that you're selling a game to New South Wales. Well, it is that. It's the fact that you're doing this whilst masking what it's about. If you need a cash injection, just come out and say it. Just come out and say it that you need a cash injection. Don't try and hide this. Don't try and hide this by doing some stupid fucking PR spin that makes it look like people actually care about, or like it's actually good for the game, or some bullshit like that. If we go to some of the quotes, Danny Townsend has said, the A-League's CEO has said, this is a unique opportunity to build a tradition for football fans. Danny, where do we start? Where do we start with this? A tradition for football fans. Right, okay. So it's not just for 3 years. Let's just get that straight. Let's just get that nice and obvious. It's not just for 3 years. Because if it was for 3 years, don't get me wrong, I don't understand name me a tradition that lasts for 3 years, please. Name me a tradition that lasts for 3 years. So it's quite obviously two things. It's either not for 3 years and you plan on making this permanent, which, I mean, God forbid the uproar if that happens, and you either make it permanent or you're just lying. You're lying and saying that, it's for tradition purposes. Now, he's also come out and said, oh yeah, but what about, he's come out and said two things, one of which I'll touch on later, and this is another thing I want to touch on. He's come out and said, what did he say? He said, think about, the FA Cup in England, and things at Wembley. And like the things at Wembley, everyone adores Wembley. Like it's all like it's a massive tradition that you go down to Wembley for the game. It's all about going to Wembley. Like you can have that. You can have that, right? Okay. Let's do the maths, right? Let's do the maths. From where I live to Sydney Football Stadium, and I live in Melbourne, right? I live in the suburbs of Melbourne. This isn't even speaking about people that live in Perth or Brisbane or Perth. God forbid Wellington. From where I live, it is a 12-hour drive. From where I live to Sydney Football Stadium. A 12-hour drive. Okay. Let's go to Wembley. Wembley. Right? Wembley in the UK, right? Wembley Stadium. Right? Wembley Stadium from let's just go. Let's not even go to Newcastle. Let's go to Liverpool. Liverpool to Wembley. Liverpool to Wembley. 4-hour drive. 4-hour drive from Liverpool to Wembley. 12-hour drive from Melbourne to Sydney Football Stadium. So the fact that you have the audacity to compare the two, and say, oh yeah, but look at how England do it and with Wembley and it's all tradition. Yeah, mate, because they can go up in the morning or they can go up the night before, drive down, watch the match, and then potentially even drive up that same night. From Melbourne to Sydney Football Stadium, it's 12 hours. God forbid Perth. I think Perth is something like 42 hours. From Liverpool to Wembley, it's 4 hours. 3 hours 57. So the fact that you have the audacity to compare the two is ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd. Not only that, the fact that what the grand final is and what it rewards people finishing first because it gives you the home advantage. It gives you the home ground advantage. We've seen time and time again the home grand final almost carry teams over the line and almost make such an intimidating atmosphere. Like my mind goes to the 2015 grand final, right? Sydney, I don't think Sydney had lost the game all year away from home. They go to Amy Park. They go to a fully packed Amy Park that was filled to the brim, noise, one of the loudest sporting games I've ever been to, and Victory destroyed them. Off the park, destroyed them. That is lost. That is completely lost. Imagine if that game was at Sydney Football Stadium. Or imagine this, 2016 I think it was, Adelaide United versus Western Sydney. Adelaide United come from bottom of the league in January to reach the grand final and have the right to host the home grand final. They pack out Adelaide Oval. They win 3-1, and I know from people who are at the game, from Adelaide supporters I've spoken to, the best footballing experience I've ever had. Imagine if that game was in Sydney. And I unluckily, I have not had the privilege, as I quickly just adjust the volume of the mic because I can see it spiking there. So apologies if it's too low, if it's too high, I apologise. But I haven't had the privilege of going to an away grand final. I've been to two grand finals. I've been to two grand finals. The one where Muscat hit the post, and of course the 2015 one. I think anyway. I might have been to one of the Adelaide ones, but I can't remember. They're the two grand finals that I've been to. I haven't had the luxury. That's the point I was going to make. I haven't had the luxury of going to an away grand final, but I've had people who I know who went to the grand final, Melbourne Victory versus Newcastle. They said that is one of the best footballing experiences they've had because they went up as a unit, they went up as a group to enemy territory. They sang the joint out. They made as much noise as every other fan in that stadium. They outsang the home supporters. They came away with a 1-0 win, and they got to celebrate in the opposition stadium after winning the league, after winning the grand final. And it was filled to the brim, to the absolute brim. So the fact that you're taking that away from people in itself is ridiculous. And in itself is another reason why people don't care about football, are slowly losing interest about this game, slowly losing interest in this game. The league is in such a desperate and dire need for people to go to the games. And it is humans are sheep, right? Humans are sheep. If I see 10,000 people going to a place, I'm probably going to follow them, right? So the Melbourne Derby's on this weekend, right? Hopefully, I know Victory's away bay sold out. Hopefully, let's just say that they get 30,000, right? I don't know what it probably will be, but let's just say they get 30,000. That's going to want to make more people go because a lot more people are going, right? The league is in desperate need for people to attend games. So what did the A-League do? They shoehorn a game that is meant to be the most prestigious game of football in this country. That is meant to be the game where that travels the country and gives that travels the country and rewards the best teams by giving them the right to host it. They've locked it in one certain spot where, heaven forbid, I know both of these teams aren't going that great, but heaven forbid, in the next 3 years, Perth versus Western United ends up being a grand final. I shit you not, 4,000 people will go. 4,000 people will go to the grand final, to the most prestigious football game in this country. How can you not see how ridiculous that potential possibility is? How utterly absurd that is? How on earth can you think about all the factors and still go ahead with this decision? It's reportedly around $8 to $10 million dollars of cash injection to the league. Okay, great. But let's be honest. Of that 8 million, how much of it will have tangible profit or tangible will be like tangibly seen in a sense by us? Because it was all well and good having it be seen by the board. That's great. By the board of the A-Leagues, by the board of the clubs. That's great. Football is about the fans, right? Football is nothing without the fans. How much of that 8 million are we going to see? I'm not saying it should go to the fan groups. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying it should go to the fans. That's not what I'm saying. But how much are we going to see of it? How much are we going to be like, oh yeah, remember 5 years ago when they ruined everything and they really pissed everyone off? That's where that 8 million has gone. Ah, right, I can see it now. It's made the league better. How much of that are we going to see? What? 1, 2 million max? Absolute max? Not good enough. It's simply a disgrace. And I don't understand people defending the decision. I understand people defending the need for the cash injection. I 100% agree with that. But, I mean, I'm no businessman, but surely you can find out better ways to get a cash injection than selling your soul. All right, that's one thing I wanted to speak about. Let's speak about the other thing, and let's speak about what Danny. Now, I don't want to attack Danny Townsend at all. I don't want to attack him personally because I don't know the guy. By all accounts, he's actually a pretty good bloke, right? But I feel like I have the right to attack his business decisions. I feel like us as consumers of his product have the right to criticize the decisions that are made that impact the product. And I feel like by virtue of that, we also have the right to criticize the justification of those decisions. Danny Townsend said this today. Danny Townsend, this is I saw this on Twitter. Neil Sherwin, editor for Backpage News. Just want to give credit to it. At Neil Sherwin on Twitter. Right. Danny Townsend says, I don't know if this is a direct quote or if this is paraphrased, but I'm just going to read the tweet word for word. Danny Townsend says that fans are reacting through emotions now, and over time they will look back and be grateful that the APL board had the confidence to make the decision. Okay. You've doubled down. You've doubled down on it, and not only have you doubled down on the decision, you've doubled down against the fans. So, you've made your bed. You have made your bed, lie in it. As much as I want this decision to be rescinded and to be reversed, you can't. You cannot. You've made your bed now. You have made your bed. Live with the consequences. Live with the consequences of 5,000 people rocking up to the grand final next year, where it's between MacArthur Bulls and Perth Glory. Please, live with that decision. Live with that decision. You live and die by your sword. You live and die by your decisions. Don't backtrack now. As much as every football fan in this country wants you to backtrack on your decisions, you've not only made the decision, you've doubled down on your decision. So stick with it. You've made your bed, lie in it. Lie in the bed you made. Don't backtrack now and live with the decisions, live with the consequences. Live with protests, live with fans walking out of games because of your decision. You live with that. You also live with the fact that 5,000 people are going to rock up to grand finals potentially. You're going to live with that, all because you needed a cash injection. And I'm not blaming you for needing the cash injection because football in this country is struggling as it is. I know that. Trust me, I know. But there are far, far better ways you can do that than pissing off 99% of the fan base. Pissing off 99% of people who have defended this sport, who have defended this league tooth and nail, to the casual fans, to the people who don't watch the A-League. The amount of people that I know who have fought tooth and nail to defend this league, including myself, to other people who I know who aren't big fans of the A-League, you have turned your back on them. They're the people you've turned your back on. You've turned your back on the people who will die for this league, who love this sport so much that even when this league has been a rabble for the best part of a decade, despite this league being a rabble since 2015, 2016, this league has been a complete rabble, they still defend it, they still go to games, they still watch, they still buy the shirts, they still support it, they still do everything. You've turned your back on those fans. You haven't turned your back on the casuals, you've turned your back on the people that actually give you the platform to make these decisions. Football is nothing. Sport is nothing without fans, but football is nothing without its fans. We've already seen protests ages and ages ago with the FFA and how fans were mistreated, etc. We've already seen the impact that fan walkouts can have. The Melbourne derbies this weekend, I will not be surprised if there is some form of protest, whether it's a tifo, whether it's a walkout, whether it's people just simply not going to games. I struggle to comprehend this decision. I really do. I can comprehend the need for a decision. Like I've said, I've said this countless times. Yes, the league does need a cash injection, by all means, and I agree with that in itself, 100%. But I don't understand this decision. Put it simply, you do not care. You do not care about football in this country. You don't care about the A-League. You don't. People who made this decision don't care. How you can do something, and a lot of other things have been said, right? A lot of other things have been said. A lot of other things have been said because of like in justifying this decision. If I can quickly find, of course, I mean, OSM have released a statement. OSM have released a statement, which of course the Melbourne Victory Active support. I'm not looking. It's a pretty long statement. I'm not going to read it word for word, but go seek it out. It's great. Other active support has definitely released a statement on a Melbourne victory. The club has released a statement, which in all honesty is a piss weak statement. Absolutely piss weak. It's piss weak statement that really I can't remember who said this, but that was just an introduction paragraph to a statement that wasn't made. I'm just in utter shock. I'm just in utter shock at how you can come to this decision. It's I mean, I just don't get it. I'm just trying to find the thread, which explains the three kind of main points, if I can find it. I can't remember who it was by, but hence why I'm struggling to find it. Here we go. Anthony. Okay, Anthony _M_G_ on Twitter. This is a thread. 3 key reasons outlined here: tradition, time to plan, and a week's long extravaganza. Firstly, I've already mentioned the tradition part. What 3 years is a tradition, is it? 3 years is a tradition. That's not a tradition. A tradition is something that is lifelong and is generation on generation. That is a tradition. Like this podcast isn't a tradition, is it? A tradition is something that is over a prolonged period of time, not 3 years. So either you're lying and you're doing a stupid PR spin for something that doesn't really exist, or you're planning on doing this permanently, which in itself, heaven forbid that happens. And furthermore, the tradition that we've already got is a tradition that doesn't exist any other sport in this country, and it works. It works. The fact that whoever finishes first hosts the grand final, or whoever finishes the highest seed hosts the grand final. Bang, tradition, right there. There's the tradition. Time to plan. What do you mean time to plan? What do you mean time to plan? I'm not gonna book grand final tickets now because Victory might not make it. You still get a week to plan regardless. No one books grand final tickets if their team isn't in the grand final. No one does that. So what do you mean time to plan? What do you mean time to plan? Explain to me time to plan. I don't get it. And then weeks long extravaganza. I mean, Anthony's just said, I need to explain why this is ridiculous. See above. I mean, I echo his thoughts. Weeks long extravaganza. All right, whatever. That is the most arbitrary thing I've ever heard in my life. Weeks long extravaganza. Fuck off. Seriously. So many beautiful football moments in this country have happened in different stadiums. Yeah, if so many grand final moments have happened in different stadiums. So why are you making this decision? Explain to me. I would love an explanation. Other than, yeah, we need some money. Because realistically, I get the need for money, and I've said that countless times so far on this episode. I get the need for money. Completely get the need for money. This is not how you do it, though. Not only the decision itself, but the fact that I don't know Louis Nanny's thoughts, but Craig Goodwin in particular has come out and said on countless times already today. I'm recording this at 3 p.m. Just on the 3:45, right? Already, Goodwin has come out and said countless times he was in the video, doesn't agree with the decision. Jamie McLaren come out and said the players were blindsided, no one knew what was going on. The fans were blindsided. They do not care. They do not care at all. I don't know what's next. I really don't know what's next. Does it get rescinded? Does it get rescinded? Who knows? But yeah, I mean, this is Craig Goodwin's statement. I want to clear things up publicly. I may have been in the video today for the A-League men, or for the A-League's choice to host grand final in Sydney, but I do not support it. I'm a player, but I'm also a fan. The fans are the most valuable thing in football, and as we have seen from the support throughout the country for the Socceroos at the World Cup, they are the ones that create the atmosphere and the culture, and what makes the game great. Like many fans around the country, and like I said, I'm disappointed in I too am disappointed in this decision. I mean, he's a gem. He's an absolute gem, that guy. Absolute gem. We need clubs to speak out about this publicly, because not all of them were consulted. I know Tony Sage has spoken about it, the man at Perth. The man at Perth. I know he's spoken about it, not in a formal setting, but definitely informally, and he's definitely implied that he thinks it's a disgrace. Of course, Anthony De Pietro is a man that is on the board of the APL, made the decision, yet he's involved in Victory. And I can only assume by the fact that the clubs weren't consulted, how can that man go behind his club's back, make a decision without consulting his club that he knew would affect the club and he knew that would affect the fans? Why would you make that decision? Why? I'm at a complete loss. Because not only is the decision itself angered a lot of people, rightly so. But this is once again the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of people, because the World Cup the World Cup was like a message from God. It seems like it was kind of a thing that happened almost supernaturally, which said, okay, you've fucked this up for about 5 years now. We're gonna give you this tournament to practically reset everything. Reset everything. And I mean, if you want to look at the A-League this weekend, the fact that there was no games in Melbourne's ridiculous. If you want to capitalise off the success of the Socceroos, I don't care what the fixtures were. You make exceptions. I don't care what the fixtures were. The fact that if you want to capitalise on the success of the Socceroos, you get your biggest teams playing in their stadium on the biggest nights. Melbourne Victory, and I'm not saying this just because I'm a Victory supporter, I'm saying this because this is arguably objectively fact. Victory, the biggest supporter base in the country, playing against MacArthur on a Sunday afternoon isn't capitalising on the World Cup. Isn't how you capitalise on it. If you're stuck with them playing MacArthur, move it to Tommy Park, move it to a Friday or Saturday night, and then bang, enjoy your 15,000 people that rock up. Not your couple of thousand which rocked up, if that. I'm just so tired. I'm just so tired. I am just so tired of this. I am just so tired of everything about this. And I don't know if anyone else on the board is involved with any of the clubs. To be honest, I'm not that clued up. I should probably have done my research before this, but I just don't get it. I just don't get it at all. This is just so frustrating from start to finish. Just so frustrating, and I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it changing, to be honest. Like I said before, he's made his bed and they've made their bed. They've doubled down on that. And they need to stick by the decision. As much as if I had a magic wand, I'd just bang, goodbye, no more. Like, just stop. Like, this never happened. I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I'd probably be just enjoying my day instead of ranting and raving. But they've made their bed, like I said. They've made their bed, they need to lie in it. And I don't see it getting reversed. $10 million contract with the New South Wales government. I mean, is there precedent for getting that reversed? I've got no idea. I think maybe the Sydney football season or whatever it was, the thing with Celtic and Rangers maybe. But apart from that, I don't know. Genuinely don't know. Just had such a loss. How they expect people from Perth to... How they expect people... If it is a Brisbane versus Perth Glory grand final, which isn't going to happen this year because both teams suck, but let's just say it does. In the next 2 years, because it's the A-League, right? There's the squad turnover is ridiculous. Let's just say that happens. How do you expect two sets of travelling fans to fork out thousands of dollars to go to a game which at least one of them should have hosted, especially right now when the cost of living is going through the roof and people coming out of a pandemic are really, really struggling. And if we're going to be blatantly honest, the market for football in this country is really, really gone towards the middle class, towards the kind of, it's a people's game, right? And to a lot of young people as well. A lot of young people who are probably students, probably early working people, mid-20s, who can't afford that. Just can't afford it. If I was a Perth Glory supporter, if I was a Western United supporter, heck, I'm a Melbourne Victory supporter, the point stands. And we finished top, and we verse Brisbane. Or I'll just sort of this. Melbourne Derby final in Sydney. A Melbourne Derby final in Sydney. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Undefendable. I think that's it. I think I got it all off my chest. But I think I'm done. I feel sorry for a couple of people. I feel sorry for the admins of the A-League, of the A-League Twitter account. I feel sorry for them. Because they had to make the decisions and their phone's probably all gone buzz every 10 seconds. Anyways. Hopefully, I guess the what's it called? The conclusion to this is, you can say what you want about a lot of people who made these decisions, Danny Townsend, people on the board, etc., etc. But the decisions made, I don't think will be reversed. They've made their bed, they need to lie in it. And if it is reversed, I think whoever made the decisions need to resign, because your business integrity of making a decision and then resigning because a lot of people didn't like the decision. Okay, but you just need to pray to God that the 10 million, 8 to 10 million that has been funded by the New South Wales government for this, you need to pray to God that it's actually worthwhile. Because I tell you this, if in 4 years' time, the game is, the grand finals are back to be hosted around the country, the league is in a better position because of this funding, I will sit here holding my hands up and saying, Danny Townsend, I was wrong. You were right. Thank you very much. But the probability of that happening, I would say, is probably the same probability of me waking up and seeing $1 billion in my bank account. So let's be honest here. The criticism is warranted. The hatred towards this decision is warranted. And you just got to pray to God, pray to the powers that be, that the money is actually used correctly. Because if we're honest, it probably won't be. Football, right? It is what it is. Anyway, I'm done. I had my rant 40 minutes later. I actually wasn't going to do this. Wasn't going to do this. I got so angry and so just tired of everything that I wasn't going to do it. But we're here now. We're done. This should be out some point tonight. It's currently just ticked over 4 p.m. when I'm finishing this up. So maybe by 6 o'clock, hopefully 6:30 maybe. Okay, we're done. Thank you very much. Speak soon. See you for the World Cup. Goodbye.